Hi guys! I'm so excited to do this today. I have never had the opportunity or the skills or any of the tools to do this type of a video, but now is my chance and I am very, very excited to test this whole thing out. Also, I just need a moment here. I get to talk about one of my absolute favorite people in this whole entire world. Oh my goodness, we have never even officially met, and I would literally die for this man. He is one of the greatest people I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, before I start fangirling more than I already need to, I think we should probably get into the who, the why, and the how. So, we are going to talk about Ben Rector today, and obviously how he uses his social media platforms to do what he does to be successful and expand his brand, expand himself as a person. Um, First off, I just want to say he is a very humble, very, very humble, kind person. I was able to attend his Old Friends tour back in early March before everything closed down. Rexburg was actually his second stop on the tour, and then they had to cancel everything. But I was very lucky to be able to attend that concert. It was amazing, by the way. Like I said, yes, he's very humble. He doesn't like calling the last song the encore because he feels like it's very pretentious. Everybody knows that they're coming back out for another song. Just little things like that. He's very family oriented, and he just loves to make music with people. So I think that's just a really good asset because not only do you have to be smart with how you market yourself and your music on social media, but if you're just genuinely not a good person, most people tend to gravitate away from that. So I think it's very easy with how personable he is to follow and be interested in his content. Getting more into what he does rather than who he is. He just makes his music very relatable. A lot of his lyrics tell a story about just personal things in his life. Like there's one song he wrote called Green, and it's about his trip to Oregon on the coast, in Portland, everything like that. There's a song called Kids, and he talks about nostalgia, and he says, it's good to have new friends, but at the end of the day, there's just not quite a substitute for all those friends that you had growing up. You can remember how to get to their house, how to dial their house phone, just different things like that. Just everyday things that people can really relate to and say, oh, he's actually a human being. He's a normal person. He does things that I do and that I can relate to. And I think that's why people gravitate towards his music and towards his platforms because he's just kind of another one of us. He's just another common person that just had some extraordinary circumstances in his life. Um, his sound is very unique. He is kind of, how do I want to put this? He's in that growing folksy pop kind of a genre, which there's a lot of singers that try to identify with that, but his sound is very, very unique and he approaches it in a very unique way that sets him apart from everybody else. He promotes his music in a very personal way, which I will get to in just a moment. But yes, he really likes to connect with people. The platforms he uses are pretty standard, pretty popular, what most people use, I think. He's on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. He's got his own website for his merchandise and tickets. He's on Facebook, and I'm sure many more, but those are just the main ones that he is on. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like his Facebook page is not as personal. It seems to do all right with a fan base, but I don't think it quite matches how he works on social media, if that makes sense. He very much likes to reach out and talk to people and share content with and of other people. So when it's just a certified Facebook page, it's kind of more just promotional stuff as opposed to him really connecting with other people. But like I said, it does seem to come across positively and it still seems to work for what he does. Let me move this out of the way here. Perfect. So, as I've been saying this whole time, he really makes things personal. He likes to kind of go outside the box when it comes to, his tours, his concerts, and then his most recent music video for a single he came out with during this whole pandemic, crazy pandemic. He came out with a song called It Would Be You. And it's really interesting because a lot of artists have gotten onto this trend where they're like, what do I do now? I'm stuck in my house for 2 weeks. I can't go perform. My tours are canceled. But a lot of them have started recording and producing inside of their home. And this is what he did with It Would Be You. The whole song is basically comprised of this idea that all these different crazy things are going on. And if I had to stay in my house for 100 days and just do nothing or look at the stars or just sit in my house, I would want to do it with you. It would be you. And he kind of wanted to continue this idea of we're kind of all in this together. We're all staying home, but we want to do it together. And he came out with a challenge that he issued for his followers. He called it the Coffee Dad Shuffle. And basically, this came from inspiration of his album cover, the single cover. There's a picture of him singing, and he's spilling his coffee out of his mug, and he's just got a mustache that's all grown out because you can't go to the barber, and he's in a robe with shorts and slippers, and he's just singing his heart out. And there's a little animated gif of him doing this Coffee Dad Shuffle. So he wanted to see everyone's best Coffee Dad Shuffle, and he wanted them to submit it, and he would choose which ones he thought were the most creative and the best. So he did that, and he got a lot of submissions, and quite frankly, they were pretty awesome. People went all out. They were very creative, whether it was with the costumes, the choreography. People did full-on dance numbers. And I think it gave people something really to look forward to during everything going on, which was really nice, and it definitely promoted his music because not only did he issue it to his fans, but when those fans posted about it, that means all their friends that may or may not have heard of him were able to see it too. So I think that was a very smart marketing tactic. He also, at the end of this competition, decided that not only was he going to pick a winner, but he had honorable mentions. And they put together this whole music video for his song, and it's all comprised of these submissions that people did of this Coffee Dad Shuffle. So I think that that's something that people will definitely remember for a long time. It's going to spread that music everywhere to all sorts of different people and platforms, and it gives people something that they can really look back on and say, we were part of that. And I also think that that's just not only smart, marketing wise, but it's also, I think, just good for the fan base in general with him as a person. That's just another layer of him really reaching out to people personally and getting on their level. One way that he also is very personal is he's very vulnerable on his page. A lot of his stuff is not always just promotional. He talks a lot about his family, his wife, his daughter. They just had 2 twins. He even has an old Instagram post about his mother. There's a picture of him backstage, and he said, my mom would not let me go back out on stage without ironing my shirt because it was wrinkled. And it gave me a good laugh because that's something we can all relate to. It's something where you go, oh, well, if I was a star, my mom would probably do that too. Couldn't go out with a wrinkled shirt, And I think it's just one of those elements that really just humanizes him and makes him a real, just everyday person. He just posts little quirky things like that, and it just makes him seem more normal to us. He just recently posted a video with his daughter. He was asking her questions about how she feels to be a big sister with 2 twins on the way, and just little things like that just make it more unique, and just they make it his own platform instead of just strictly promoting his music and his merchandise. And I think that kind of really ties into his character as well, because as I said before, he's very humble. He doesn't like to put himself on a pedestal. So I think when he's posting about his family, when he's posting about other people, it makes it less about him and more about just this experience of sharing the music together and looking forward to something positive. So one thing I did notice about him that was also very effective is because he's on these different platforms, he offers not only a variety of the different videos with his content, but I think he also targets different demographics. You know, it's not just like one demographic of young people or one demographic of old people. I think his music really connects to everybody. Um, Especially on Facebook. I know there are a lot of different people that are on Facebook, but you know, I think on Instagram he really he really targets the younger people, the younger generation, people my age and kids younger. On YouTube, you know, you get maybe some little kids that run across this video, or you've got adults that are on there that see it as a recommended video. On Facebook, you probably get some older people or some parents and maybe young people too. It just kind of opens up the door to have, you know, multiple types of people from all over, of all different ages and all different cultures and everything to see that music. And I think that really plays to his advantage because I know that some stars are very specific in how they approach their music and how they approach advertising and different things like that on their platforms, but he's very good about making sure that it's very well rounded on all these different platforms. And as I said before, he had to cancel his Old Friends tour, which you would think would cost a lot of money, but he was very smart because he actually decided, hey, we're going to do a live stream. We're going to do one last show. They are making people pay for this live stream, but I think part of this too was for the kids that they paid tickets to go see these shows later in the year and they were canceled. He said they would be refunded, but they still kind of have a chance to see him. It may not be the same type of venue, same experience, but he's catering to his fans. He's catering to those people that are supporting him. And so I think that's really smart in a sense that, you know, you're not making people mad by saying, oh, well, I paid for this and I didn't get to see it. No, he's trying to uplift people and stay consistent and not let everything get canceled on him. And I think that later on, that's really going to help him keep followers, is the fact that he still is putting forth the effort to, you know, get these people's money's worth. I also think that in part of that, it's allowed for a lot more advertising, as far as like behind the scenes things. So today he posted a video saying, okay guys, tomorrow is the live stream for the Old Friends tour. You know, make sure you be there, get your tickets and everything. I'm bringing my own personal piano out. I'm hauling it out of my house to go do this. Just little things like that, and it gets people excited to be able to watch this, especially during this year with everything going on. And I think that draws more people to what he's doing. It's almost a distraction in a way. So by doing this live stream, he allows a lot more leeway and a lot more opportunity to post more about this tour, even though it wasn't quite what they expected it to be. So he's very conscientious of how he goes about doing these things. Another thing I wanted to touch on quickly is, obviously, again, I'm basically a broken record, but I can't stress it enough. He's very genuine and vulnerable in his posts, which I think not only makes people want to support his music and participate in challenges and go to his concerts, but I think that really helps with people wanting to buy his merchandise. I have found that a lot of stars, a lot of musicians, they'll have merchandise and it's great merchandise, you know, it's high quality stuff. They've got their sheet music on there, it's great, but it is so expensive in my opinion. And in a way I'm like, it's almost not worth the money to me. But when you're being so genuine and so kind and you're working hard to make sure that your fans are happy and that your supporters are getting, you know, what they want, what they deserve, and that you're making them happy because you're sharing a part of yourself with them, I think it makes you go, okay, well, normally I wouldn't, but in this case, I will. So I think that definitely helps tie in with the merchandise aspect of it. He recently found some old vinyls for his last album that came out. Didn't know they were there, but he was able to sell those, and I'm sure they've been selling like hotcakes. Even though that came out, 2 years ago maybe? But because he's got such a popular fan base, it's really worked for him. So these are his socials if you'd like to follow.